Hey there, folks. You're listening to Movie Squad YouTube channel. I'm Joey DeAngelis here with Richard Purnell to talk about The Mummy.
Why do you keep calling me? I was just taking a nap.
Richard, we should have put this review out yesterday. No, we should
Well,
have
you
put this
know,
review out a few days ago.
well,
But
you know what? I'm in mourning right now, so leave me alone.
we're all in mourning. Rest in peace, Adam West.
Yeah, that was sad. I
That
wore
was
my, I wore my. I don't know if anyone listening goes on like any of my stuff, like Instagram or anything, but like in my pictures, I now have my Adam West bat cowl on.
yes, it was magnificent. I did see that.
Yeah, that's how I honor a legend. So
So
that was sad.
that was sad.
Anyway, segue.
Let's talk about a movie, The Mummy. Just came out the other day, and Richard and I both saw it, and we talked about the Mummy, other Mummy movies. We talked about the Dark Universe. You can check that out on the Movie Squad YouTube channel. I might even post links in the description. We got some really nice feedback on the Dark Universe video. Before I get into anything else, somebody suggested Richard Armitage as Abraham Van Helsing. Shout out to them. I don't have the comments in front of me right now, but I just want to, say shout out to that person.
And we do. Just on the note, we do appreciate when you comment because we like interacting with you guys. So please keep commenting.
Oh yeah, exactly. And we try to reply when we can. It's very encouraging to see a comment. It's always nice to see likes and people viewing it, but it's also nice to see someone taking time out of their day to write something nice or even not so nice. We have a couple of those, but it says that you're watching.
That's all that matters to us. We don't like you could hate listening to our voices, but
I mean, I know I hate listening to his.
I hate listening to yours too.
Well, you know what? We're both out of luck.
It's like your voice is like the brown note. It keeps my belly jiggling. And I'm like, am I gonna go to the bathroom? I hope not. So you need to like heighten your volume, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is a family show.
Family show.
It's a family show.
So anyway, The Mummy. This is the first installment in Universal's Dark Universe, their new relaunch of the Universal monsters, starting with The Mummy. And,
The Mummy.
It's a story across time. You have the Princess Amunet, right, or whatever.
Yeah, Aminet. Yeah,
Amunet, or whatever. Sophia Botella is this princess, and she's supposed to be the heir to the throne in Egypt. She's going to be worshipped as a goddess, pretty much. However,
but her daddy ends up having another kid.
yeah,
So that in traditional story type situation, that kind of complicates things in people's quest for power and royalty. So she does something about it, and it gets her in trouble. But not necessarily that particular act. Something else gets her in trouble. She makes a pact with Set, the god of death,
yeah,
and that gets her mummified as they do in these mummy movies.
yeah. She's mummified alive, as happens in a lot of these mummy movies, which is a particularly horrifying concept to think about.
It is, because you're just stuck in a box, and then you're just kind of you don't want that.
No, that's not the ideal situation. But anyway, thousands of years later, we have Tom Cruise and his boy Jake Johnson, and they're investigating stuff.
What's his name? Veal or Vale? Vale?
I forget his name.
I think the character's name is Vale. I'm going with that. Yeah. But they're U.S. military soldiers, but on the side, they're smugglers that steal treasures and sell them on the black market.
Yeah, pretty much. And because there's an explosion that goes off, and they discover the final resting place of Princess Amunet, which is. I thought one of the things I'll say, but some of the Egyptian production value, for the tombs and some of that stuff, was particularly breathtaking. I thought that was really exceptional.
That was the stuff that always drew me to the movie to begin with, was just the design of everything. I thought was really cool. Just the way that her sarcophagus was, just the design, like you said, of like of like the Egypt and all that stuff. I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah. So, and the whole movie, Tom Cruise has to deal with the mummy. Mummy comes back. Mummy shenanigans, and there's a lot of world building for the rest of this universe.
Because they need to do that with these movies. If you're going to do a cinematic universe, you got to be like, hey, guess what? There's other things.
So I guess let's talk about like the non-spoilery stuff first. Stuff that we liked and didn't like, I guess. Or at least, Richard, what did you think of this movie overall to start? Overall impressions.
Well, I'll tell you, I was probably more excited than most people were to see the movie because, like you, I am also a fan of the Universal monster movies. And while I'm admittedly somewhat tired of the idea of a cinematic universe because everybody does it now, or at least it feels like everybody does it, it doesn't change the fact that it's a concept that could be cool if applied to something else.
Sure.
So it's like, Marvel, DC, and then the Godzilla movies, they're all doing it. And I'm looking at a Godzilla poster behind you, which makes that funny to me. I don't know.
Yes, my Godzilla. Yeah, you guys can't see this. I have the Godzilla 2000 poster that says "Get ready to crumble," and he's like shooting his atomic breath everywhere, and it's amazing.
He's firing it right at Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's a bit of a concern there.
Yeah, you need to move that poster.
I'm a little lazy, and the Godzilla poster is pretty heavy, and it's kind of stuck there for now. So.
Unfortunately,
but whatever.
But so yeah, it was definitely a cool idea to have a cinematic universe built off of the Universal monster characters, and It could be because there was a possibility it could be something different because obviously we're not dealing with heroes, we're dealing with
monsters.
Damage, we're dealing with monsters, tragic figures like Frankenstein or like actual evil entities like Dracula, and how that could play out pretty well. I mean, we got something of a taste like that in other movies like Van Helsing, for example, which is kind of like a culmination cinematic universe type thing.
Right.
So, long story short, I was very excited for it. But having seen the movie, I can tell you, while I don't think it's a bad movie, it's by no means a good movie. It's like it's fine.
Yeah.
It does its job more or less, but it's just kind of like it's just there, it's like it's nothing special.
Yeah, it's like an in-between like summer movie. If you really have nothing else to do, check it's there if you want to see it. It's like a hey, want to go to the Dollar Theater today and go see a movie? Yeah.
Well, I got one for you. It's like a late night rental almost.
Sure.
Just like just to pass the time. Not like you're probably not even watching it. You're just like sitting there playing like your like little Nintendo DS or something while the movie's just playing in the background for like white noise or something.
Yeah.
Because that's unfortunately what it doesn't offer anything tremendously special. It's like, yeah, it does offer you a glimpse into a cooler, bigger universe with like, first off, Russell Crowe's amazing Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde performance.
And that's not a spoiler, by the way. They spoiled that on their own.
We already knew. Though it's funny enough, some reviewers didn't know that. But then again, people didn't seem to care enough about this movie to really look into it.
Like, we were the only ones who really cared about the extra materials of this motion picture.
We're the ones that are like, yeah, we should probably look into this.
Like most people care about the clickbait articles, like who is Star-Lord's dad, or who is going to be the after credit scene in Infinity War. We're just like, ooh, Russell Crowe is this monster?
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So I would definitely give it points for giving me interest in the dark universe, but as a mummy movie, it's not my least favorite mummy movie. That still goes to Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely worse than The Mummy Returns. I will say the special effects were better, but still,
yeah.
So I'm pretty down the middle with it, but I don't hate it. I just don't think it's all that good.
Yeah, you know what? This is like a repeat of the Pirates review because I basically share the same sentiments as that.
But I do think it's better than Pirates.
It is better than Pirates. We both agree on that.
I'll give it that because it's coherent.
So over the last couple of weeks, I've seen Pirates, Wonder Woman, and this. And Wonder Woman's been like the top tier of those three. Pirates is the bottom, and Mummy's just in the middle.
Yeah. For me, because I saw that, I saw Pirates, I saw Wonder Woman, and I saw Alien Covenant. If I didn't see Wonder Woman and love it as much as I did, because I think that movie's amazing, it probably would have been Alien as the best of those three, and yet Alien I fell asleep during. So I don't know what that says.
Right.
But then again, I tend to do that with Ridley Scott movies because his movies I think he's a good director. Just they drag.
They can feel their length sometimes. Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, the Mummy is definitely just a movie. I guess is the best description for it.
It's especially in that it tries to be a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It tries to be a horror comedy. It tries to be a big bombastic action film. Mm-hmm. It's a Tom Cruise movie. He's got to run away from something. And Tom Cruise, I got to give him all the credit in the world for doing all this stuff. He's solid enough in the movie, even though I don't care a lot about his character. It's Tom Cruise as a screen presence, for me, was compelling enough. I guess to get me through the movie was what I'm saying. If you had like a lesser actor or somebody who wasn't Tom Cruise, it could have been like,
because the script, because admittedly the script, intentionally made his character unlikable. Yeah. And so, if it was anyone else playing that role, you would have just been like, I hate this guy. I want him to get killed by the mummy.
But who was really not the good was the girlfriend part, Jenny.
Yeah.
That was...
Played by Annabelle Wallis.
Which is also really insulting, because it's we just came out of Wonder Woman, this really, empowering, movie for girls. But the good news is the mummy is a female villain, which, in a way, is empowering. Yeah. But we have this chick... And she's just there.
Yeah, she feels like a 1999 side character, like a 1999 female side character. She's totally dated. She doesn't really she has a sense of importance, but they don't give her enough of that with the material. And the actress, who if you don't know who she is, she had a small bit role in X-Men First Class.
Yes, she
as the woman with heterochromia.
It's a mutation.
It's a really groovy mutation because you got to remember it's the 60s. It's a groovy mutation. And then she was also in the movie Annabelle, which is a spinoff of The Conjuring.
Sure.
Which I don't know if that's a proper example of her being a good actress, but I do feel like she. I mean, again, I don't know if she is a good actress. Just this didn't give me a good example of it.
No, and to be fair, the script and a lot of the directions all over the place. Alex Kurtzman, infamous for Transformers, some of the Star Trek and Amazing Spider-Man films.
Yeah, he's a busy guy.
He's a busy guy, but some people don't like that very much because it shows because some of his stuff is not very good, or a lot of his stuff, I should say, it's not very good. And I believe this is his first time actually directing because usually he's a screenwriter.
Yeah, because he's normally screenwriting with another guy.
Roberto Orsi, I believe the guy's name is. He usually do. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're always teaming up together. But like I said in one of our previous videos talking about Kurtzman is that the one thing that definitely kept me driving with him possibly doing a good job with this movie is that I really liked his Sleepy Hollow show.
Okay, yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so that was because I do remember seeing posters for that show. Whenever I'd walk around the mall, because they'd have check out this new show on Fox, and it says from the co-writers or from Transformers or something, and from the director of Underworld, and I'm like, how is that going to be a good show?
It works, I guess.
and you watch it, and you're like, this is actually pretty decent. Right. So, but then the show crapped out. But other than that,
I'm trying to think of other things that are in the movie. Well, again, like I said, it's very, very it's a movie basically. Yeah, it tries to go through the movie things, and it shows because I didn't think my mom was going to like this movie at all. I took her to see this one.
Shout out to Patty.
Shout out to Patty. She's just the best. I took her to see this one, and she's not a Mummy fan or a Monsters fan by any means. Her favorite part in The Wolfman is looking at the Talbot estate and looking at the nice house and like the romantic scenes in the beginning before he becomes a werewolf. You know, that's her kind of thing. You know, but with this movie, she found herself enjoying it quite a bit. So which is nice.
There is stuff to enjoy. Like I was talking to a friend of mine online who really liked the movie, and I basically told him I completely understand like if someone watched this movie and found it enjoyable, because there is stuff worth enjoying in the movie, but at the same time it's like, because it uses pretty much everything you've seen and like everything else. It's so by the numbers, and it's just, you know, it's like you can look at a scene and go, okay, I've seen this in this movie and it was better in this movie than it was here, or I've seen this in this movie somewhere else and it was better somewhere else. So it's like, you know,
right.
I can also see someone not enjoying it, basically, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think what else I loved Russell Crowe in the movie. He was my favorite part. So like Sophia Botella was great. I wish he was
oddly attractive.
Yes.
I hate to say that I kind of wanted to get it on with the Mummy, but hey. Family show. So snuggle with the Mummy, Richard. I meant to say take her out for dinner. But then again,
on a date,
she would probably suck the soul out of people. So I don't know.
And then Richard would be like, totally worth it.
Totally, that was so hot. That's so hot. Let's go home right now. Let's find a sarcophagus somewhere.
Let's snuggle and watch Netflix as you drain my soul.
You better drain my soul.
Better. All right. So,
don't go for Tom Cruise. I'm right here.
Also, just before we get to spoilers, there's no after credits scene in this movie.
No after credits scene. I was curious if there was, so I looked it up on my phone during the credits and then said no. So I was like, I'm out.
And this is actually a particularly short movie, even though in places it feels very long.
Yeah, it was kind of like I left the theater and I was like, it wasn't that long. It kind of felt long, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. It's less than. It's about an hour and 50-minute runtime, but it just feels long. It felt long. But anyway, I guess overall we're pretty on the movie. We're gonna get into spoilers now.
So if you do not want to be spoiled by this movie, do not watch the rest of this video.
Don't. Maybe just save it for later. If you do happen to check out the movie, pin this video for later, watch the movie, and then check it out later. But if you don't care about spoilers, and to quote Edward Van Sloan, what we may say may shock you. It might even horrify you. It's a Frankenstein reference for those of you at home who don't get it. You get it?
You get it? You get it?
And actually, it makes me think of another Edward Van Sloan thing it's not in the print of Dracula anymore, but he's in the end of Dracula, he says, "Now don't worry, folks." He's trying to reassure people, but really he goes, "There are such things."
Dun, dun.
But unfortunately, I don't think there really are Sophia Botella hot babe mummies.
You mean we don't know? We haven't gone looking.
We don't know yet, so we're trying to stay optimistic.
We need to join the military, become smugglers, and find out for ourselves.
But which one of us would be the Jake Johnson character?
You,
I guess. He was the best character in Jurassic World. So I will take that as a badge of honor.
I can totally see you with a whole slab of dinosaur stuff on your desk anyway, so...
I mean, I have a picture of myself next to a dinosaur.
See? Boom.
There you go.
You would be the one going the original Jurassic Park, the OG Jurassic Park. That was legit.
And I could see Richard doing the Tom Cruise run.
I don't run. That's actually a contradiction.
Well, so then we have to use special effects.
I'm Russell Crowe. That's what I'll take that.
I could see that, sure.
I'll take Russell Crowe.
So, spoilers! Now. Okay.
All right, okay, first spoiler. No one's died. No one dies. I just want to throw that out there.
No one really died. It just feels like nothing...
Yeah, there's no sense of threat.
Nothing happened.
Okay, one person does die, but then he just shows up. It's like American Werewolf in London.
Well, that's very much... The Jake Johnson character is very much... like the friend in American Werewolf in London. Yeah,
because there's a bit when they find the tomb, and I like how this just kind of thrown out there. We didn't even like set anything up, but like all these spiders, as happens in these mummy movies, like you get these bugs that come out of nowhere, and you know whether they're the scarabs in the '90s Mummy, where they just like eat your flesh. Where in this one, the spider bites. What's his name? Jake Johnson. I'm just gonna call him. The character's name is Vale, so I'm calling him Vale. So Vale gets bit in the neck. And Tom Cruise yells at him, "Why are you freaking out? They're just something spiders.
They're cannibal spiders.
They're not even poisonous.
They're scary looking, but they're not poisonous."
And yet, something still ends up happening to the guy, and he gets like infected with some mummy zombie curse, and he like tries to kill everybody. And Tom Cruise shoots him.
Yeah.
And then he ends up coming back later as a hallucination to Tom, because we forgot to mention Tom Cruise. The reason why it goes through the stuff that he goes through in this movie is because he himself becomes cursed by the mummy.
Yes, that is what happens, and like David in American Werewolf in London, he has to see his dead friend. You know, the only difference is American Werewolf in London had much more of an impact on that because you saw him like really decaying.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool.
Which is a very impressive, visual effects and makeup work by Rick Baker.
Shout out to Rick Baker.
I mean, I thought it was an interesting homage to American Werewolf in London, but I don't know if it really went anywhere. It just kind of felt like it was there, just to be like,
and it kind of like, and it was so immediate, like when they first started doing it, but then they just stopped doing it until the very end of the movie. And it's like, because I kind of forgot that he kept talking to his friend. I'm like, is he going to show up again? Then he shows up again. Like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, that happens. So yeah, Tom Cruise is cursed because the mummy is trying to put Set in him. Like
basically, there's a ritual that she's trying to perform that has Set or Lucifer, the devil, however he's, whatever culture he's named in, and she's trying to put Set into human form, and she fails to do that. That's why she gets mummified. And so she sees Tom Cruise and says, yes, he's a good vessel.
Which goes through, like, not in a direct way, but sort of like the theme of some of these mummy movies where it's like a bond across time. And the only difference is Tom Cruise doesn't feel as much like a reincarnation as much as a placeholder. Because in other versions of the mummy story, there is someone who is like the human reincarnation. Like Zita Johan's character from the original Mummy movie was that reincarnation, and when you saw her in the flashbacks of that movie, it was the same actress playing her. Obviously, you couldn't get Tom Cruise in some dark face or tinting him up would have been a bit controversial.
Yeah, just probably not the best move.
Would not have been the best PR move. So, but again, that theme is there, like this thing that spans thousands of years.
So at least in some ways they do reference like some of the older ones, and or at least like story wise they might take from.
And there was that Easter egg you were talking about from the Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah. I actually, every single person I've told this to has seen the movie, did not notice this. Mm-hmm. Now. This I don't know. This could mean that they're connected to this new Dark Universe, or it just could be a fun little Easter egg. I'm going with the second one, but basically, there's this bit when Tom Cruise's character is fighting Russell Crowe's character when he becomes Mr. Hyde, and Jenny, Annabelle Wallace's character, is trying to get to Tom Cruise so that he doesn't like get killed or anything, and one of the guards in the place that they're at, which we'll discuss here in a second, she takes his book from this library they're running around in, and she whacks him in the head with it, and the book falls on the ground. Now, it's one thing if it's just like a quick glimpse kind of thing, but they intentionally focused on this, which makes me wonder if maybe they're trying to connect the Brendan Fraser movies. Mm-hmm. But the book that she used was the Golden Book of Amun-Ra, which is the book from the first Mummy movie that they had to use to defeat the Mummy.
You know what I could see, Richard? I could see them, if this movie doesn't completely work out, them almost using that as sort of a retcon, where they bring in Brendan Fraser again, sort of as like a supporting role.
Oh man, Brendan Fraser, what would he like? Did you see that interview he did?
No, I didn't.
Where, yeah, he did an interview where they asked him about it, and he looked so tired and so sad.
Yeah,
like he's just like, it's nice that people are saying that they want me in the movie, but I hope the movie does well. And I understand Tom Cruise is what sells tickets, but like you're just like he's talking, you're like, Brendan. Do you want a hug? You want something?
Brendan, it's okay because this movie's slated not to make that much money this weekend at the domestic box office. So it's not a matter of you not like Tom can barely sell tickets sometimes unless it's Mission Impossible or that maybe possible Top Gun 2 thing.
Maybe I kind of want to bring some soup to Brendan Fraser. Like, here, I got you some soup.
You want some soup? You want me to feed it to you or something?
You give him with some cracker bits. Do you like the cracker bits?
Didn't we have like a discussion where like Donald Trump's cutting all these programs, like these social programs, and we were like, what about Brendan Fraser?
We need to save Brendan Fraser. I will march in the street for that.
Hashtag Brendan Fraser matters.
Brendan Fraser lives matter. Is that okay to joke about?
Hashtag Brendan Fraser lives, but we need to save him.
We need.
It's like we need an accord about Brendan Fraser's life. We need the countries of the world to unite on this common cause.
To come together and say, yes, we need Brendan Fraser in our lives.
So, continuing beyond Brendan Fraser and how much we miss him.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, there's that cool little reference to the Mummy movies. Again, it could they could try to do some connected universe thing. Maybe they'll have a scene where Brendan Fraser's in a nursing home or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because
I
don't know. But yeah. So there's I think the biggest thing I liked about the movie overall is that they had a lot of cool ideas that they used in the movie. But at the same time, it's like they could have utilized them better. Like I loved the idea that the mummy was in Tom Cruise's head, so he'd be running away, but then he would realize that he actually just drove in circles all the way back to the mummy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a really cool idea. I was like, oh, okay, that's that. And he's like, yes, you're right. She is in my head.
Whoa.
And like you said, there is a lot of world building in the movie, but I do think that it wasn't as forced as an email, for example, or having frickin' Sam Jackson show up and say, you need to solve the riddle of your heart.
My thing is the world building stuff in this was the best part of the movie for me.
It really was.
That was the part where I'm like, oh, there's a creature of the Black Lagoon's arm, and there's a vampire skull, and when he scans the hand, is Dr. as Mr. Hyde. He can't get through because he's Mr. Hyde.
And he starts, and I love that he changed his voice. He's like,
Russell Crowe.
It's not gonna happen there, mate.
Is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Russell Crowe. This is what I've learned about Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is always the best aspect of any introduction to a cinematic universe. Always the best thing.
Jor-El is the best part of Man of Steel, easily.
That's why he's in the movie so much. Everyone's like, why is Jor-El in this movie so much? Because Kevin Costner sucked. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
But this is coming from someone that likes Man of Steel. Kevin Costner is horrible. So you gotta save it with Russell Crowe.
Some of the supporting characters in this movie were bland, but Russell Crowe comes in, and you're like, oh, thank God. So my thing with the Russell Crowe, so he becomes Hyde, and he fights Tom Cruise. And this is my favorite scene in the whole movie, because it makes me think of a third act of some of the massive Universal Monsters crossovers from the 40s. So it makes me think of, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, where it's just two dudes throwing each other around. It's not like a massive CGI spectacle where 35 zillion buildings are being crumbled, where somehow nobody dies, and then these buildings are crumbling. No, it's just these two dudes that are fighting.
Exactly. I will say I was nervous because I didn't know if I necessarily liked, because I always liked Mr. Hyde being more monstrous and looking less like Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, it was still Russell Crowe, but his face was just green and his eyes were like yellow or something. I don't remember.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But because Russell Crowe was so fantastic, and like in like the switch up, I was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, no, I think he's like the highlight of the movie.
I got a proposition to make for you. You, me, Eddie Hyde, we're gonna make this work.
Eddie Hyde.
I was like, oh, that's so cool. I wish there was more of that.
That was amazing. Yeah, again, like all the Prodigium stuff was actually pretty great. And in some ways, I know we say like Penny Dreadful is like the Universal Monsters TV show, but it makes me wish that this would rather be a TV show. Because this feels more like a TV pilot.
But you know what's funny is you mentioned Penny Dreadful. They're continuing Penny Dreadful as a comic book series.
Right.
And the comic series is dealing with the Mummy, and the story in the comic is very similar to the one in this movie, but it's just told a little better.
It's just told a little better in comic book form.
Like, even the fact that the villain, that the entity they're trying to release is Set or Lucifer or the Devil, the fact that they use all those names, is the exact same freaking thing in this Penny Dreadful comic. Now, what makes it cooler, though, what makes it more connected, is that in the Penny Dreadful universe, Lucifer is actually the brother of Dracula.
Right.
And so, like, in, like, the flashback issue, like, issue 3 of the Penny Dreadful comic, you actually saw Dracula, like, dealing with his brothers, like, coming into the world through a flesh and blood host. And so it was just funny to, like, read that issue and actually tell Joey about it after I was done reading it, because I was like, ooh, they're talking about the Mummy. I wonder if it's a coincidence. And then to go to see the movie and to realize, holy smokes, they're using the same flippin' plot. Like, what? It's just changed ever so slightly. Because instead of the Mummy being a dude, it's a woman. Speaking of which, Sophia Boutella.
Yes.
Babe.
But
Total babe.
Tom Cruise, he's not the Wolfman. He's not Van Helsing.
Which, there was some speculation, at least from you, that he would be... Because you have that picture they released from Dark Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp, Invisible Man. Javier Bardem, Frankenstein's monster. Sophia Boutella, the Mummy. Russell Crowe, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And so Tom Cruise is there, and you're wondering, who is he? Because it's all... Like, they didn't throw in the human characters. It's all monsters.
Right.
So it makes you assume, what could he be? And we get the answer in this movie. He is...
The devil, Lucifer?
Yeah, I guess.
Pretty much, which is underwhelming, but makes me glad they didn't waste Tom Cruise or they didn't waste the character of Van Helsing or the Wolfman on Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if I would have preferred Tom Cruise as the Wolfman to, like, say, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I agree. I can agree with that, sure, I guess. It's just, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Tom Cruise is a very specific personality.
Yeah. He definitely has a better build for, like, a Wolfman thing, though, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So he's Lucifer, basically.
Basically, at the end of the movie, there's a physical confrontation between the Mummy, because she has this dagger she has to complete, like, get all the pieces together for the dagger. And she uses this dagger that was given to her by a demon or the devil himself, I don't remember.
Right.
To stab into a human host so that Lucifer could, embody the human. And so, unfortunately, Sophia Boutella kills Jenny, Annabelle Wallace. And so Tom Cruise is kind of bummed out about that, and he's like, oh, no, I liked her. She's pretty. And so... she basically, like, tries to egg him on a little bit. Like, there's a way you could save her if you become Set, the god of death.
Sure.
You have control. You yourself are immortal, but you have control over the life and death of somebody else.
Right.
And so he stabs himself with the dagger, embodies himself with Lucifer, and brings her back to life, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And because he has that, like, struggle, like, because once Lucifer embodies him, he's like, he could just become Lucifer, or he could still be himself. It's like, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
that's
the goodness in him balances himself out, but he still has the powers of Set,
sure.
the god of death. So
one other like weird reference that probably was not intentional, but I like to think was intentional, was Sofia Boutella delivery of saying, "There is a fate worse than death." And that's actually a line in the original Dracula where Lugosi goes, "There are far worse things awaiting man than death."
Because she is the starter of this one.
Yeah.
So like Dracula, except, they did do a Dracula movie that could have started it all, but it didn't work out very well.
And that's the other thing. It's better than Dracula Untold.
It is better than Dracula Untold, regardless of what Rotten Tomatoes might tell you.
Yeah, like, Dracula Untold was just no. And this is just like, well, it's rough, but it's a start.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, you got some idea, but, at least we know that the next one, we got Bill Condon, Bride of Frankenstein, and we know that Bill Condon can do good stuff, so there's a sense of hope.
So there was a lot riding on this movie. The projections are saying it could make $30 million and lose out to Wonder Woman. However, the foreign markets might save this one.
Maybe.
I've been reading some decent box office turnout in other countries. I can't give you the exact numbers right now because I'm too lazy to pick up my phone. But they're there, and it seems like it'll be one of those movies where it's been a more consistent Hollywood theme, where it's like they put out these movies that do better internationally than they do domestically.
And then that's how they get to make another one, I guess.
So we can thank the foreign markets for that if this thing turns out to be a hit. Because I really like to see more out of this universe. I just don't want Alex Kurtzman involved anymore. He can stay away.
He's a producer, I think. He's not directing anymore.
Well, don't direct any more of these, kid.
Yeah. So it's like, I know Bill Condon's doing Bride, and I read that Kurtzman is like producing and I think co-writing one of them. I think he's co-writing the Van Helsing reboot.
Oh, and that's the reason why I thought Tom Cruise would have been Van Helsing, is because for the longest time Universal was talking about a Van Helsing reboot with Tom Cruise.
And I mean, Tom Cruise might still show up.
Yeah. So there's that. The other thing with this dark universe, like our good friend Andrew Gifford messaged me. He said, Margot Robbie as the bride. And I'm like, what? Is that real? What? And he says, no, it's just a fan cast. And I'm like, damn it.
That could be cool.
That would have been interesting as hell.
I would be down for that. But again,
Javier's the monster, and I could see Margot Robbie sporting that really weird wig.
I mean, even when she has multicolored hair, she's still incredibly attractive.
Yes, this is very true.
So I would totally be down for that. But I'm also thinking, like, what are some other actors? Because I know we've talked about this before. Like, what are some other actors that have been in a Bill Condon movie that he would put them in as, as these characters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a toss up. But yeah, Margot Robbie as the bride, pretty sweet actually. So
that would be Universal. If you're listening to this, make that happen.
I mean, hey, it's not like she's switching to Marvel or anything. She's still Harley Quinn, but she could also be the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Although I heard she signed like a first look deal with Warner Brothers, although she could probably do other things.
Yeah. I mean, it's like how Robert Downey Jr. does all his Iron Man movies, but then like every other movie he does is with Warner Brothers. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
that seems to be a consistent thing that happens.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah.
So it could happen. With the monsters, I'm trying to think, what else are we looking forward to? So they announced recently, it was after we made the Dark Universe video, that they want to put the Phantom of the Opera and the Hunchback of Notre Dame in this universe.
Which I'm all for.
I'm all for it too, but I was actually talking to people who were actually very thrown off because when people think of Hunchback of Notre Dame, first thing think of the Disney movie. It's a good movie. Good movie. Richard, I know you're a fan of that, and I am quite a bit. But that's the public's main conception. That movie is just as a Disney movie. Phantom of the Opera. It's the longest running show in Broadway history. It's the highest grossing piece of entertainment ever.
Nighttime shopping.
Yep.
Nighttime throws its splendor.
Richard, we're not doing your solo album right now. This is a movie squad video.
Sense it, tremulous and tender. Turn your face away from the garish light of... I'm not going.
Well, he's better than Gerard Butler, so let's just...
I don't think we own that much of that song, so you'll have to add some of that.
I don't care. So anyway, with The Phantom, people only know it as the musical. You just sang the song, and people know the song.
Listen to the music of the night, people.
Music of the night. And actually, Hunchback and Phantom predate any Universal adaptation of the rest of the monsters. And they were both played by none other than the great Lon Chaney Sr., who's my favorite actor of all time, who is also the father of Lon Chaney Jr., who would go on to play the Wolfman. He's played the Frankenstein monster, played the Mummy a number of times. He played Dracula technically once.
Like father, like son.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like son, father. How that goes.
So if you've never heard of Lon Chaney Sr., definitely Google him. I want to do a video about him on this channel at some point, so be on the lookout for that. And
you
also,
would. I feel like you would do a whole editorial on just how great Lon Chaney Sr. was. Just this whole video. It's where's this going? I think he's just saying how much he loves him.
Well, okay. I might make something. Also, this is a plug for my channel, Silent Film Saturday, where I've talked about a lot of silent movies, and I've talked about other older movies. So,
whore.
Yeah, I'm family show. But anyway, I hope if they put them in this universe, I hope it helps the public steer away from just this very narrow-minded focus that these characters are strictly from Disney or strictly a musical.
And I think it might work a little bit more with Phantom just because there have been multiple adaptations and people still recognize, the image, maybe not the movie itself, but the image of Lon Chaney Sr. as Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
So sure. I feel like there will be a sense of them being able to adapt to that, but with Hunchback, yeah, for sure, it's going to be why isn't he Sanctuary? Yeah. Where's Esmeralda?
Oh man, you ever see the Charles Laughton Hunchback?
I have not.
I think you should. It's probably my favorite of the three famous versions of that story.
I'll have to check it out.
It's a good movie. You can probably find it really cheap on DVD.
And you guys check it out too.
Yeah, you should check it out. Charles Laughton, he was a great actor, Academy Award winning actor of his time, who also went on to direct the amazing movie Night of the Hunter with Robert Mitchum, Lillian Gish.
I am familiar with that.
Fantastic movie. We're just delving into all these other classic movies. That's why I like talking about things like The Mummy, even though it's not a great movie. But if you're interested in the monsters,
it fuels your interest.
It fuels the passion and the interest. So I'm probably going to put a couple links to things in the description below. Anyway, what did you think of The Mummy, folks? That's what we want to know.
Just in the comments, we want. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And if you want, refrain from spoilers, or maybe do a one of those ... things people do, spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
Spoiler tags, yeah. But let us know for sure in the comments what you thought of the Tom Cruise Mummy movie.
And if you want Richard and I to talk about more monster stuff, because that just seems to be our theme on this program now.
Rawr.
Monster. Yeah. Oh man.
Rawr.
Oh, right.
Don't ever do that again. That scared me.
Family show. Far from it.
Family show.
So, anyway, The Mummy, it exists. Check it out if you want to. If not, wait for it on DVD or a matinee screening.
Or just wait for the next Dark Universe movie. It might be better.
Maybe. Who knows? But in any case, Joey, that was Richard. Peace.
Bye. Bye.